snacks from rock solid landscapes. See, some of this, we're like, some of this stuff,
weird out there. You can hear maybe even weirder.
open house of schools, see what the word is.
Okay, ready? Are we live in both?
Yes.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? We rewrite the rules. The countdown has begun. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, how's it going? Everybody happy out there?
It's Friday Eve.
And
Yes.
all's well. The unanswered question. On Friday Eve, where is Adam? Eve shows up every Thursday to taunt us, but apparently leaves Adam toiling away in the garden or something.
He's probably still in bed, that old lazy thing.
Such is life. So happy Thursday to y'all.
Happy Thursday.
I'm the obnoxious and deplorable guy that my parents named Rayford Brown, and we welcome you aboard the live and local Real Talk train that's preparing to leave the station. All aboard!
We're Cardinal Nation bound.
There you go.
And good morning, Numbly Barrels.
I come up with all this stuff, and you just, hi, I'm
Yeah,
okay.
hey.
We need some drama from you.
Oh, I had a day of drama yesterday, but we're not going to talk about it. But
You are.
It was a crazy day.
Hmm.
No, we're not.
Happy that Thursday's here, and we're going to try again to tune into that big bench in the courtroom and see if we can lure a judicial official to our chambers.
I'm excited.
I am too.
I have questions.
We talk about courtroom activities at least 3 days a week, though some weeks it seems like the action doesn't even take a weekend break. In about an hour, we'll be joined live and in the studio by the Honorable Robert Roop.
Superior Court Judge.
I always want to try to make his name French. Roupé, with the accent over the E. Roupé. That sounds pretty cool. Judge Robert Roupé.
What? Okay.
There's no way he can address all of the questions we've stored up in just one day, one session. We've got them. They break every hour.
Yes.
We'll keep it a bit general today because I kind of want to start like in the first grade with,
Yes.
The first thing you do is, because we got a lot of people that ask us a lot of questions.
Court for Dummies.
Yeah, there you go. And that would be me. So sometimes we know just enough to be dangerous. And so many of the laws and the procedures and everything that I was very familiar with, unfortunately, or fortunately,
Right.
that was over a quarter century ago.
Mm-hmm.
A few things do change.
Yes, they do.
Processes
New
change.
laws.
Used to be you could kind of walk in and out of the courtrooms, and you didn't have to empty your pockets, get undressed, get frisked, and that's now Lee loves this procedure.
I'm going to court today.
Yeah. Guess what I'm packing,
Well,
y'all?
I have to frisk you. Okay.
I guess what I'm packing, y'all gonna have to find it.
Oh my God, no, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, you would. You got signs that say
Evil
getting
laugh.
warmer.
Getting warmer. Ooh. No, it's the ooh. Okay.
But there's a lot happening that we deal with every day. Because we don't report on news. We do, but we report on what other people are reporting on about the news.
Right.
whenever they do it, sometimes they don't do it. We have to end up doing it. But God, that sounded a bunch of like weird stuff.
I'm like, what? Wait, I need more coffee. Okay,
yeah.
go ahead.
But
Cheers,
we
everyone.
just react to what other people report. That's what talk radio is all about. We're not here to make the news, not even report the news per
Yes,
se.
we are.
Well, we break the rules, so
We do.
whatever. But the people ask us questions, and social media, socialist media, is full of questions and misinformation.
A lot of
nothing that I've
misinformation.
ever seen before. National Enquirer was like the Encyclopedia Britannica compared to socialist media today.
You think?
It's got National Enquirer had at least a basis for facts.
If I open
Even with the
Facebook
tinfoil
one
hats.
more time and read all the garbage about flock cameras, I'm going to scream.
Oh, I'm gonna flock
That's
those
the
cameras
post.
with a
I shared earlier in the week of the clip of Sheriff Thomas in here.
Here are the facts, Jack.
There are the facts. He explained the facts. Put it out there. It's been shared a lot of places. Thank you. People still arguing. I like Sheriff Thomas, but he's a liar. I'm like, come on.
Say that to his face one day.
Oh,
Let me do how it works for you.
Please. Call us
Steve,
first.
one of our frequent callers, Steve, we consider him a friend.
Yes.
And he mentioned one time that his mother said he would used to argue with a stop sign, right?
Right.
Well, my mother and my grandmothers always used, you would argue with the signpost.
Right.
So, it's the same thing. I know just different terminology, but yeah.
I do want to say real quick.
Entering Jacksonville. No, we're not. We're not entering Jacksonville. Yes, you are. Come on. Don't quit arguing.
I do want to say that if you go to the flock map, it's going to show some flock cameras in Onslow County. These are on private properties, like HOAs have them over there in their neighborhoods. Businesses. Those people can put up anything they want to on a private property.
I don't know what the cameras are all over around Walmart, but they've got them all. If you walk up to Walmart and look overhead, you're going to see cameras. You're going to see cameras here, cameras there.
Right.
Now, there are cameras all over Onslow County.
Correct.
There are cameras all over Jacksonville.
Correct.
The cameras in the Jacksonville area that are operated, there are traffic control
intelligent
cameras.
Transportation systems.
They are not traffic enforcement cameras.
Right.
Now, somebody said, well, yeah, but if they see something going on, they're going to report it.
No, they're not like that.
Yeah, but that's not what they're there for. If they see something going on, that cameras record.
They're like,
and the police
mm-hmm.
can get those recordings.
All right, I will tell you, there's one right next.
From the stores and from Walmart too, they can get them with a warrant.
One right next to Jacksonville High School on the side on Gum Branch Road. You got the fire department. You've got the light where the fire trucks come out. You've got the intelligent transportation system
you need
doohickey.
one more hand to do this.
And then you've got another big intersection. Through Bluetooth capabilities, the emergency operations centers, Jacksonville PD, 911 center, whatever, if the traffic is backed up or they need to, whatever, they can send a signal to that sends a signal to the light to stop them, to change the lights.
Now, where did you get that it is Bluetooth?
It is off the City of Jacksonville's page. It's on their website.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I can tell it to you real quick because I sent it to somebody else last night. The Traffic Operations Center is housed in the Center for Public Safety and acts as the central hub of the system. Inside the center is a 25-foot video wall, which we've seen, allowing traffic signal staff to monitor traffic in real time and make on-the-spot changes to adapt to a variety of traffic congestion. All right.
What's that got to do with Bluetooth?
Okay, I'm gonna go back up here, and I'm gonna tell you, we accomplish this through a combination of cameras, traffic control software, Bluetooth traffic monitoring devices, dynamic message boards, which we've seen that like slow down, geese crossing, and over 40 miles of fiber optic cable to connect it all together.
Okay.
Emergency vehicle preemption is an additional benefit of the system. The capability allows for large emergency vehicles to be given priority at traffic signals, reducing response time.
We got all that.
Yeah, that's what those cameras are.
Mhm.
They're not flock cameras. They're not reading your license plate.
No, they're not. Now, there are license plate readers. I do not know how many in the county.
Right.
They are here, and they are here for a reason.
That's right.
They will not invade your privacy.
No.
No more so than a police officer will invade your privacy if he sees you driving down the highway.
Right.
He or she sees you driving down the highway. Is that an invasion of your privacy? Yes, if you're a sovereign citizen, they consider it an invasion of your privacy.
That's
but they're not right. We know that.
Running for murder.
They
yeah.
have a problem
Mhm.
anyway. So it is not an invasion of your privacy. If you think it is, if you really, honestly, why don't you go get an attorney? Because there are some out there that would just love to take your money, and go ahead and file all the complaints you want everywhere and pay those attorneys to do it for you. And then you'll be in the poorhouse with nothing in return.
You
It's
know,
been done,
Rayford,
y'all.
these cameras have been everywhere for a long
I
time.
know they were.
And I don't know who started all this.
They were in Wilmington. These traffic control cameras were in
Right.
Wilmington in the 80s.
Well, they have red light cameras too, used to be
Yeah,
in Wilmington.
that was a private company.
Right.
The other cameras, the traffic control cameras, are owned by the Department of Transportation, the North
Yep.
Carolina Department of Transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, guess what else there is? Those cameras, they've got them put up on. They did have in Wilmington. I don't know whether they have them in Jacksonville or not, where we, the people, could see them.
Mm-hmm.
We could see them. We couldn't
Right.
control them, but we could see them online.
Right.
We had microwave links to the Department of Transport, to the Wilmington Traffic Engineering Department is what they called it, which controlled the cameras that the state bought and put in, right?
Right.
But at the TV station, both TV stations, because they were done with taxpayer dollars and they were in the public's eye, we got access to them and we used them. We also, the TV station had its own cameras up.
Yeah. I have
Hello?
cameras. I have cameras.
We
at my
had
house.
cameras up that we control.
Yes, Charlie.
We had cameras up at the beaches, and we would be able to look, at conditions at the beach. We had cameras up at the battleship. We had cameras
Right.
at Memorial.
Well-
we had cameras up everywhere.
I will tell you, this system that's in the city of Jacksonville is maintained through a partnership between the city of Jacksonville and North Carolina Department of
Yep,
Transportation.
that's what it said.
And people are like with the county going, well, how can they spend our tax dollars and not ask our permission? Okay. You complain that the roads are bad. You want more roads. You want this. You want that. And you've got.
If you think that every individual, every taxpayer, or every person walking the earth can have daily access and control of what goes on in government, you're absolutely
I
out of
just
your
wanna
ever-loving mind.
Reach out to Barry real quick. He just made a comment on our Facebook. Ready for Friday night football. Amen,
Absolutely.
Barry. We'll
Rock
see
on,
you there.
rock on, let's go.
Let's go,
Charlie,
Cubs.
you coming to our football game tomorrow night?
That's right.
No.
If you got on,
I mean, if I was there, if I was in your area, I probably would. Yeah,
Well,
yeah. If I was in your area, I would.
well, you can be in the area. You got planes. LA still
Yeah.
has an airport, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they got planes flying this way. You know
Go
that,
ahead.
right?
Go get a ticket. Jump on. Let's go.
What football game are you talking about? It's like some sort of crosstown rivalry. Is it a college game? What is it?
Now it's Jacksonville High School versus other schools, and tomorrow night is a school in another county. But yes,
We're alumni.
Yeah, you guys. I get a kick out of people in Middletown America. You know, respectfully, you guys are over 20 or 30, but they hold on
Yeah.
to their high school days, and they love to see their team playing.
That's right.
and,
No,
and the reason you have no school spirit is because why?
Right. Because I didn't experience any of that.
That is your loss. I don't see you. Wouldn't you be? Don't you think you would be a much better person if you had that to look forward to?
No, I mean, listen, I think I get it, but I don't know. You know, go team, go. I really don't care about the team.
Okay, well then you just don't care. It's fine. You just don't care.
Right. No, but I was thinking two things. I don't know if you guys know who Nick Shirley is, right?
Tom Duty.
We have what? I'm sorry. Say again.
You guys know who that young 22, 23-year-old kid that infiltrated Minnesota's Somali scams? Nick Shirley.
Nick Shirley.
Yeah.
Was it Nick Shirley?
Did you guys see the latest thing that he did?
Oh no! What did he do?
Well, no, it's a good thing. You guys should, when you get a commercial break. He went to Sacramento, and there's this new bill. It's called It's called the Nick Shirley Act. They want to find individuals like Nick Shirley that try to expose
I
fraud.
see it now.
Good luck.
I see it.
No, but it gets really good to know. You got to watch the video, and there's this guy, and his name is
Adolf Hitler.
His name is what'd you say?
Adolf Hitler.
Well, no, this guy's name is Terry Schanz. So I think it's Shanaz. He's the chief of staff to the Democratic Assemblywoman Tina McNor. He makes like $200,000 per year. And Nick Shirley was out and about confronting people one day, probably a week or two back, about this vote to basically, sue people like Nick, make a fine for exposing. So
It's
this
out of
guy,
California.
I guess they got a group text during the day, and he printed out these forms, and he went out and confronted Nick, and he goes, and it said, allegedly Nick Shirley has a small penis, prove me wrong. It's just bizarre. So Nick Shirley's out there interviewing all these elected officials in California that are going to vote on this bill that basically is going to, sue Nick Shirley if he tries to find fraud. And this guy is an absolute, he's ridiculous. You guys got to watch him do your own breakdown of it. But he confronts Nick because he knew Nick was, talking to all the different, assembly people. And he's like, so Nick, is it true that you have a small penis? Prove me wrong. It's just so bizarre of all the things that he can confront him on.
Yes.
With this
California Assembly bill.
Things like that. Anybody can
26.
come up with whatever they want to, but it's not going to go anywhere. And if it did get in, even if it got by all the way up through the state legislature in California, then you know what would happen? A federal court would overrule it, throw it out in about one New York split minute. That's it, done, because it violates the Constitution.
No, but my point is that this guy makes over $200,000 a year, and he's obviously a gay man, which is fine. And he approached Nick with flyers that he put together probably within half an hour, because he's upset at Nick exposing, what's going on in California. And it's like, all he kept saying was, "Do you guys hear that Nick Shirley has a small penis?" This is an elected.
Who cares? You've said penis 23 times. I don't care. Don't want to hear it anymore. It's irrelevant to what we do here, and we don't care, Charlie. We don't care.
No. But why do we elect these people? Why do we put these people in office?
That is your problem. You vote in California. I did not.
I didn't vote.
Well, if you did not vote, then you're the problem.
Well, yeah. Maybe, but I didn't vote for these people.
If you did not vote at all, then you are part of the problem.
Well, listen, last time I voted was for Trump. That's the last time I voted.
Okay.
Listen, you're not going to win in California. It's a liberal state. You're not going to win. That
is a defeatist attitude. I refuse to accept it.
So I admit it. I'm defeated. I'm defeated.
Okay.
Is that a good thing? I'm not going to
That's a bad thing.
Well, no, but I admitted it.
Yeah. Well, but you're not going to make any changes that way.
Well, no. But you've got to at least give me credit for admitting it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Back. Take care.
We got to run. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get some weather out of the way because we got a bunch to deal with today. Marine forecast is deteriorating a bit. Seas and southerly winds begin to build today as a cold front approaches the area a little ahead of schedule. That front will stall over the area on Friday with light but varying winds. The front is expected to be accompanied by an increased risk of thunderstorms that may last into Saturday. A more dominant southerly flow returns from Sunday into early next week, and guess what? It's going to slop up the water offshore. Today, out to 60 nautical miles, nice. Southerly winds 5 to 10 knots, seas around 2 feet. Tomorrow, southerly winds 5 to 10 knots, looking good, seas around 2 feet. A slight chance of showers and thunderstorms. Then Saturday, going to get a little bit more increased winds, southwesterly 10 to 15 knots, seas 3 to 4 feet. Showers likely with a chance of thunderstorms.
Okay, today we have a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Sunny with a high near 95 and a heat index value as high as 107. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 75. Friday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly after 3 p.m. Mostly sunny with a high near 93. Heat index values as high as 106. Friday night, showers and possibly a thunderstorm, mostly cloudy with a low around 72. And Saturday's going to be a washout, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, high near 90.
As long as we can get through 10 o'clock on Friday night.
Yes.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yes. Well,
Absolutely.
I will tell everybody right now that if we get word, of course, we have Chris Miller that will be calling us around 8:30 this morning.
Yeah, we'll know.
But if we get word that things are changed for tomorrow night, we'll move to another night, we will post it on our social media.
Yep.
So keep checking there.
Yeah.
We'll let you know because we want to know.
We want to know, and we want you to know as
That's
well.
right,
Yesterday,
right.
2 o'clock, on the dot exactly. I checked it later. My phone rings. It's a Texas telephone number displayed.
Mm-hmm.
I actually said, "Oh, God, I got nothing to do." I was just sitting there, and I said, "Hello." Maybe something not quite so friendly. Sometimes I say, "Who are you? What do you want?" Audio sounding exactly like a banking type of pre-recorded message said that a $250 charge to my Bank of America account had been rejected by the bank.
Well,
And then she, a
Wow.
very lovely young lady, I'm sure, lovely voice, said, "If you
Mhm.
did not make this charge, call right away.
uh,
800-222-9810. That was the message I was delivered. So I called
uh-oh.
800-222. Let's do it a little bit at a time here. 800-222-9810. Let's see if I can do this very quickly and see what happens.
Welcome to Bank of America. I recognize the number you're calling from. For security, you must provide required information to speak to an associate. Please enter your debit card number now.
You have got to be kidding me. Now, I want you to know the number that they called me on yesterday was my cell number. The number I called them back on was my cell number.
You scammer.
I got exactly the same message yesterday, and the number that I just called them from is not my cell number. It's our studio number.
So it's a number that they weren't even calling you on.
They don't
Right.
they don't have a clue who they're calling or what they're doing.
Scammers.
It is nothing but a scam, y'all. Do not buy it.
Should give them a fake. You should give them a fake number.
No,
9999999.
I did. I typed into somewhere between 25 and 30 numbers, digits. Okay. And then she came back. She said, okay. Well, first of all, interesting. I haven't had a Bank of America account in at least a dozen years. So I called them and she said that to enter my bank card number, yada, yada, yada. So I punched in a bunch of numbers just because.
Right.
After a lengthy pause, the official voice wanted me to enter the card number again because they were not able to verify that number. Well, no kidding. I gave her another bunch of more numbers before I disconnected. Please, folks, I don't care if they claim to be Donald J. Trump, even with an AI copy of his voice, and they want to know who you are or any other information from you. Lie through your teeth. Then hang up. Don't leave your phone connected very long. Why? I'm pretty sure that during these times that they were saying, hold on, I'm pretty sure the advanced work of today's scum can download everything you have in that little computer device. I call mine a phone. You call yours a computer, where you have every piece of information about your entire life stored. Don't you?
Yes,
You do.
yes. I mean, I wouldn't
You got
say,
everything.
I wouldn't say I have everything. No.
Do not fall for the crap that they're giving you. It's ridiculous. And who knows what they would have done with a credit card number that I would have given them. But you can rest assured it would have been running up bills like you've never seen before.
Oh, they would have drained you dry.
But she sound just like. Did she sound very official from
Oh,
the
yes.
Bank of America?
Oh, yes.
Bank of America.
Yes.
Very official.
And you
that
could
voice
tell,
is one that's been used on a
you
lot
could tell
of
it was
recordings.
AI. Yeah, it was automated. It was just like, man, they would have taken that number.
So why instead of turning more crooks loose at America, why aren't we going after? Why don't we? You know what we need to do? We need to come away from Tehran. We need to bring our aircraft carriers, our destroyers, and we need to park them right off Nigeria, because all this stuff is originating from Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
It's been proven time and again and again. A friend of ours, a retired Secret Service agent, he went over there as part of a counterfeiting scam that was going on, and it all that is the scam center of the world. So why don't we just go ahead? You know, Steve will tell us about it. Every now and then there's a piece of soil that you can't get to grow anything except weeds or vines or briars or whatever, right?
Right.
And we just want to destroy that soil so nothing will ever grow there again.
That's the donkey man.
That's what we need to do for Nigeria.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a new voicemail scam that's out. I'll talk about it after 10.
We got Timmy here. Hey, Timmy, the donkey man is in the house.
Hey.
Yeah. I love the scammers, man. I love them. I play with them all the time.
Oh, it's hard to. The problem is when they do it as a recording, like that Bank of America. It's just not Bank of America, y'all. It's a scam.
No.
So
Hadn't had that one yet. That's a new one on me.
yeah, it wasn't
I did have a lady call me one day, and it was a live person.
You sure she was a lady? Are you using that term as a Southern gentleman, or was she really a lady?
I don't know. I didn't see her. But telling me, she said, I had come into some money, and she wanted to give me the bank account. How she would send the money to. And I said, I don't have a bank account. And you don't have a bank account? No, ma'am, I live out of my pocket. It's cash only. I said, send me the check. And she said, well, sir, no, we have to run this. Send me the check. Well, you need to go to the bank account. It's a large amount of money. Ma'am, I don't have a bank. I don't deal with banks. I said, I live out of my pocket. Well, if we sent you a check, how would you cash it? I said, I go to Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly. And I said, oh, my. She kept right on my hand. No. And, yeah, I get called sometimes as many as twice a day. And then I may go 2 or 3 days and won't get it. But it's just, I don't get it. The greatest one, they'll call me a couple times a week. They won't want to help me with my VA mortgage.
Bless her
I
heart.
don't have VA mortgage.
Oh, yeah.
Well, don't you want one? No. Well, privileged enough to be in the military. Well, don't you have some equity in your house? No. I live on a 1-room shack.
I live in my buzz.
Have you ever heard of a shelter half? Well, I got half of a tent. I got one
I
part
live
of
in
it.
the woods.
And just go ahead. What else can you help me with here? Can you send me some pot?
It's just a maintenance. They're working their tail off trying to steal money from gullible people, and it's a shame. And I wish we could catch them.
Well, I wish when we catch them, I wish we could do something severe to them, not for them, but we can't because we're civilized.
Yeah. Well, if I could catch them, I'd just be uncivilized. I'd bring them down. I'll tell you what, I'd bring them down here to Cross, South Carolina, where I'm at right now, and turn them loose.
No.
Now get your way out of here.
Is there a cement factory down there?
No, there's a
Cement
nuclear
factory.
plant down here. I think they could do something with it.
Okay, hog farm.
Yeah, bunch of them too.
Okay.
But I just want to chime in. Y'all be good. This
All right,
morning.
you be good. Sorry.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Let's check around the area here since we got through weather pretty quickly. Lee over in the woodlands
77.
this morning. Was 77 degrees there when she left. Last placed herself there.
Yes.
91% humidity.
Yes.
29.94 inches of mercury. It was calm and no rain. In the Burrow, Joe reported 77 degrees, 99% humidity, 29.95 inches of mercury, calm. And he had 0.09 inches of water in his rain gauge. I don't know where it came from. Maybe it was dew or maybe it was a bird. Perched on
Well,
top
I
of
will
it.
say yesterday it did cloud up a little bit over towards.
Yeah, I saw
There.
some of the clouds
There.
out and about.
Right.
So anyway, and Joe ran over to Emerald Isle. We'll be posting a picture a little bit later on. He had another one of the gorgeous sunrises in over. Oh my God, orange sky, beautiful stuff. Streaks coming up. We'll post that in a little bit. Over anyway, at Emerald Isle, he had 82 degrees, 93% humidity, 29.98 inches of mercury. No wind, no rain. Let's see, nobody else had. Yeah, a little bit of rain, wind, but no rain anywhere. Richard in Jones County, 75 degrees, 96% humidity, 29.96 inches of mercury. He could see all the way to 7.5 miles. He had a northeasterly breeze, and he had fog rolled in. Fog, not a rain. Cedar Point, Ward said is 80.8 degrees, 95% humidity, 30.01 inches of mercury. That's the barometric pressure. Southeasterly breeze at 3 to 4. Oh yeah, he also had at Cedar Point. He had 0.02 inches there. Okay, the Burrow and Cedar Point close together. They each had a little bit of water. Ken in Oslo Bay, 77 degrees, 86% humidity. It's no wind, no rain. Southwest area, Randy, 74 degrees, riding around on his golf cart this morning. 99%. I wonder if he ever plays golf out there. 99% humidity, 29.93
so.
inches of mercury. He's got a radio mounted in the golf cart.
I can't see Randy playing golf.
I think he does. Cloudless, he said, calm. River Bend, Carol. We're going to talk about Carol for just a bit. She's been in here. We know her, Carol. And yesterday she had a little bit of a malfunction.
Okay.
And she took a tumble.
Took a tumble.
And took a tumble, and EMS transported her to Naval Hospital where they treated her and spent some time with her, some quality time. And she's feeling better, but she's real sore today. But she
Ouch.
got up anyway, bright and early before sunrise, and she called in from River Bend, 76 degrees, 99% humidity, no wind, no rain. And James over there in Bladenburg area, Bladen County, 78 degrees, 99% humidity, fog. Fog had moved in there, 29.95 inches of mercury. Northerly breeze at 1, and no rain. And Crew, Virginia, Michael was up there. Crew, Jetersville, I forgot what it is, 69 degrees, just cold. 92% humidity, clear, 30.00 inches of mercury. In Acorn Forest, Will was out and about this morning, 77 degrees, 94% humidity, 29.96 inches of mercury. He said it was clear and had an easterly breeze, very light. Here in Country Club, it is currently 78 degrees, 99% humidity, 29.92 inches of mercury. Nothing coming from the rain gauge, of course, and no wind. And it's got a little cloud up there, some sun, and some raindrops coming out of a cloud. That's in the forecast, is what they put that up there for. Okay, we got about 25 minutes to go. We're going to have a judge going to be joining us here in the studio, Superior Court Judge, Senior Superior Court Judge.
Yes.
Bob Roop, Robert Rupe. Bob Roop will be joining us this morning. He used to work ADA at the District Attorney's Office.
Yes.
So I mean, he's got some background.
Yes, he does.
Known
him for quite a while.
People who do that quite often have one of those. They have one of those BS meters. And they know what BS sounds like. Okay,
Right.
when you worked as a cop or as an investigator with a DA's office or anything like, you can quickly pick up on BS. Defense lawyers, they like to believe their clients a lot. They want to make sure they get a fair trial and
Yes.
get the best deal that they can get, and so they don't have to spend the rest of their lives behind bars. Sometimes some of the lawyers I've known, they said that sucker really deserved to spend some time behind bars.
There's the court system. It's
So it's a complex.
Complicated.
It's not a simple process. So we're going to start with the judge this morning, and it actually starts once the law guys pick somebody up and take them to the magistrate's office, and
Right.
then the first person they see is going to be a magistrate, which is a judge.
right.
He's a judicial official.
They don't
And
have.
that's where they either write warrants or set bonds for people based upon a certain
Right.
what they can do, and a lot of that's going to be based on the flight risk. If the guy is from Nigeria and he's here on for murder, he ain't going to get no bond, y'all.
No. And
Let's
charges.
just put it that
Right.
way. Let me tell you about a story.
I know what you're going to talk about. I took a sneak peek and go with it.
Former
Former.
U.S. Representative Eric Swalwell. He's one
He's
of
piece of
Charlie's
garbage.
friends out there in California. He's a Democrat. Admitted to FBI agents that he had physical relations
Mhm.
with suspected Chinese intelligence operative Christine Fang on a handful of occasions.
Was that bang, bang, bang or fang, fang?
Yes. Yes. Declassified FBI
I'm
records
sorry.
detail 2 FBI interviews with
Oh,
Swalwell,
my
one at an
Uh-huh.
Oakland field office in May of 2015,
Mm-hmm.
another at the same location in March of 2016, conducted as part of a broader investigation examining Fang's, and I love that name, Fang's involvement with illicit
Fang.
campaign contributions, funneling interns to Swalwell's office, and other activities. During the first interview, Swalwell told agents he had physical relations with Fang on several occasions, with their last physical encounter occurring in March of 2015. Swalwell was elected to Congress in 2013. In the second interview, Swalwell described multiple encounters, including one in which Fang arrived at his apartment, banging on his door, and the two subsequently hooked up after Swalwell had taken a powerful sleep medication. What? That's what Falwell said. The
Yeah.
former congressman indicated he had little recollection of the event.
Okay.
The records indicated they probably occurred before Swalwell was elected to Congress. Well, that's not true. Those records have been doctored because we just heard when Caldwell was in office and when all of this occurred.
Mhm.
According to the records, Fang left after a couple hours. Swalwell told agents he did not remember much because he had taken Ambien, a sleeping pill. He said that while the Chinese agent may have wanted a romantic relationship, yeah, right. Keep thinking that, idiot. She was on the job, but all he wanted was a casual time together. Said he never really dated her. Okay, Swalwell, I think the world knows what this is all about. A dog looking for action. That was you. Was he aware of what she got from him in exchange for her services? That's the question. I suspect she got info just like the two Chinese balloons that flew across the United States a few years ago managed to download. Fang used her relationship to be able to route large political contributions to Swalwell in 2013 and 2014.
Fang.
Illegal contributions from a foreign government, a big no-no. She worked for the Chinese Communist Party. You cannot give contributions to U.S. politicians. You should know that there are ex-members of our armed forces who are spending some quality time in federal prisons for doing what I see is the same thing.
Right.
You doubt me? Jin Chao Wei, a former U.S. Navy sailor, sentenced in August of last year to 200 months in federal prison for conspiracy and espionage after selling defense information to a Chinese intelligence officer. Corbane Schultz, a former U.S. Army intelligence analyst, sentenced to 84 months in prison in April 2025 for conspiring to transmit sensitive U.S. military documents and tactical information to a contact tied to the Chinese government. Wen Heng Zhao, a U.S. Navy sailor, sentenced to 27 months in prison for accepting bribes in exchange for transmitting photographs and videos of sensitive U.S. naval facilities and operational plans to Chinese intelligence. Cole Bridges, a U.S. Army private first class, sentenced to 168 months in prison for attempting to provide material support to ISIS and offering tactical guidance on how to ambush American troops. That's treason. That should get you the firing squad, just simply put.
I would think.
These cases most often involve the deliberate exchange of sensitive military information to foreign enemies. We do not know, because we're not being told, what information that Fang Fang got from Swalwell. If Swalwell indeed took Ambien and she had the run of his place for 2 hours with him not being aware of what was going on, I don't buy it. But anyway, there's a perfect opportunity.
I have remarks on
We
Swalwell.
do know that the FBI wanted Fang Fang out of the country, that she failed to register as a foreign agent when she came here, that she provided favors for Swalwell, bought him an ice cream cone, including campaign contributions. And is there anyone among you, please, any one of you, who thinks there is the least chance that she did it out of love?
Give me a break.
So, Mr. Ex-Congressman, exactly what
Farmer.
did Fang Fang get from you other than what every American with half a brain knows she got? And other than the aforementioned campaign contributions and what every American knows she got, we really would like to know what else you gave up.
Well, Rayford, a lot of women have come out of the woodworks and accusing him of a lot of things. And Scumwell, 45, has denied accusations from multiple women, including claims of drugging, rape, and choking. And more than 30 women have reportedly made contact with a political influencer who helped publicize the allegations. But in suspending his gubernatorial bid and then resigning from Congress, he apologized to his family for
I'm sorry.
mistakes in judgment.
We
believe you,
And your mama
Eric.
said the same thing
It
about
was
you. You're
just a
sorry.
mistake.
I'd be remiss if I did not, before y'all jump on the bandwagon and dial up the number here, speed dialing. I will be remiss if I did not discuss the Trump administration right now before we are challenged about foreign government connections and how they're the same as the Swalwell affair. I'm not even going to go into Hunter Biden and Big Daddy. First, the Trump sons and others were negotiating with business ventures in other countries, and this is what we know. And as best I have been able to determine from sources not connected with socialist media, none of their business interests were connected with foreign governments, especially communist governments. Every business is under the control of your local government. You got permits, you got building permits, you got this kind of permits, you got operational permits, you pay taxes. Everybody, every organization, company, whatever, has ties to the government. People like me might make a case that no business in the communist world of China is free of government control. Yeah, that's true. And like I say, no U.S. owned and operated business in these United States is not under government control. They're all under government control in one form or another. No doubt, after Trump's first term, when he was out of the government, Those dealings the Trump boys were having in foreign countries were thoroughly examined by our government. Not sure you recall the meeting that a foreign operative set up with one of the Trump kids, an obvious attempt to get to the Trump version of Hunter's big guy, but that didn't pan out. The biggest mistake made, as I said at the time, was that little boy Trump did not immediately reach out to the State Department or the Department of Justice immediately when he was contacted. He's young, dumb, inexperienced. Me? Not young, sort of dumb, but definitely experienced. Me? Not only would I have contacted state, I would have suggested and volunteered that I wear a wire and let our government listen to whatever the guy or girl was offering. Could have led to a major investigation. You never know just how far that would have taken him. But he was a kid playing in something he should have left alone. He was not prepared to deal with it, as are 99.9% of the people in government, especially the politicians.
Here we go.
So anyway, that's just my take on all of that. Now, okay, we got a couple of minutes left. Police can neither stop a criminal trend. Have you been following these street crimes?
A little bit,
Invasions?
yeah. So at different areas around the country.
They're scattered here, there, and everywhere.
Yes, they have issues in Greenville, Kinston,
Yeah.
Charlotte. That's just in North Carolina, and issues all over the states. I think
People are the people who own these businesses are being suggested just let them do what they want to do. Don't take any action.
we're talking about California or Minnesota.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Imagine for a moment you own a supermarket, a meat market, or even a jewelry store. We've seen reports over the years about the smash and grab gangs that run into the jewelry stores, armed mostly with hammers. Waiting getaway driver and a lookout parked out front, smash the locked glass cases, dumping the rings, watches, earrings, whatever's in the expensive sections, jump into their car, and speed away. Seldom have they hurt patrons or the staff. No doubt insurance pays for the loss. The rates go up and the prices for the replacement items get higher. That's part of where our inflation comes from. Now gangs are breaking into stores, turning shelves over, destroying produce, turning coolers over, frozen and refrigerated products are destroyed. They smash everything they see throughout, then they run out. What are they doing it for? They're not doing it to make money. I mean, the guys who are smashing jewelry cases, at least they go out and sell the stuff. They're making money. I mean, if you want to put it right, they're honest crooks. What are these thugs doing? What are these bums doing?
Well, I suggest if you own a business in that area, just at night when you leave to avoid getting broke into, just leave your doors unlocked.
Yeah.
Let them have at it. I mean, is that not the most ridiculous? You know, you need to just let them do what they want to do.
You can guess what will happen in those liberal cities should a store owner who's had it up here park himself inside with his shotgun at night. And when the thugs break through the door, he says, boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
Those people will go to jail. They would be arrested. Then they get sued.
Rebecca made a comment on her page. She said, for being in North Carolina, we're sure worried about California. Maybe we should focus on issues that affect North Carolina.
Well, these issues are affecting North Carolina.
Yes.
We have these
Yes.
same people doing the same thing here.
We just talked about that.
Yeah.
Mecklenburg,
Greenville has had it.
Lenore County, Pitt County.
We're lucky that we have not had it here, but we have a police department here that I think would be.
Well, didn't we
proactive.
discuss just last week that Pitt County is considering a curfew?
Yeah.
17 and under,
Yeah.
9 p.m.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to do it. You got to catch them. Then you got to enforce it. Then you got to have some bite in the law.
They didn't say they weren't going to do that. They're just considering, setting a curfew. But too many people were worried about their sons or daughters developing a criminal record.
Oh, good.
So,
LA means Looters Anonymous. That's all it is. Had 40 people to break into that A to Z market or AZ market. 40 people.
right.
And they got them on camera. but
Yes.
they can't identify any of them.
Oh God, a
They
camera.
were in the store for 2 minutes. 2 minutes to do all that damage. 40 people
Right.
with hammers or sticks or whatever can do a lot of damage in 2
Right.
minutes. And they timed it and walked out and they got mixed with the crowd outside and were gone. They were just never to be seen
Well,
again.
we've talked about it for quite a long time, the looting and the smash and grab, and it is happening all over.
You remember the
all
first
over.
time you heard about crack cocaine?
I can't remember the exact time.
It was in the 80s.
Yeah.
But you know what? It had been going on for quite some time, but it started in California and moving this way. The crap comes this way from places like that.
Right.
So that's why we're worried about it here. That's why I'm concerned about it here. We don't start these trends.
And Rebecca, we don't just talk about Jacksonville, North Carolina on the show. We talk about everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Because
Everywhere.
it's going to affect our tax dollar. The insurance rates, these insurance companies that insure these AZ markets in California, they insure people here, and they're going to have to make up for all that stuff they had to pay out,
Right.
like insurance companies do everywhere.
And then getting insurance on a new business.
Everybody's rates go up.
Oh, yes.
So
Oh, yes.
it goes everywhere.
Yes.
It impacts everybody.
Absolutely.
All right, we got about 10 minutes here.
Let's talk about crime for a minute. I just saw a story. Greg Biffle, the NASCAR driver, whose family, they were all killed in a helicopter crash. And there was a big thing about it. And several weeks after the death of him and his family, his home was broken into. And social media decided it was his ex-wife that did it. They were putting pictures on social media.
Did she get arrested for it?
No, guess what? They did arrest somebody, but it wasn't his ex-wife. And according to the police department there, the sheriff's department there, his ex-wife was never a suspect. But North Carolina authorities have identified 44-year-old Terrell Williams as a suspect in the burglary, which occurred on January 8th, just weeks after the Biffle family was killed. According to the Iredell County Sheriff's Office, he forced entry into Biffle's home, spent several hours inside, and stole $30,000 in cash, 2 Glock handguns, multiple suitcases, backpacks, and NASCAR memorabilia, including championship rings. They alleged that Williams knew the layout of the home and the locations of security cameras and recovered a radio frequency detector at the scene, which can locate wireless equipment.
What is his first name?
Terrell is Terrell Williams, 44.
He's not even a kid, huh?
Yeah, right. The breakthrough came on July 29th of this year when Cobb County Police contacted the Iredell County with information linking Williams to the burglary. At that time, Williams was being held in Georgia. Good Lord, you should see the list on a separate charge.
Do we have a middle name on you?
Does not give a middle name. He's currently being held in Cobb County, Georgia, without bond, and authorities are looking to transfer him to North Carolina. But he's charged with multiple felony charges, including second-degree burglary, safecracking, money laundering, possession of burglary tools, larceny of firearms.
He's an habitual felon.
After breaking and
He's been
entering.
charged with that in the past.
Yes. Now, the case is part of a larger investigation into fraudulent access to Biffle and his wife accounts after their deaths. So they're still working on that. But I don't know if you remember, because, I'm a NASCAR fan, but after his family died and his home was broken into, and they showed a picture, allegedly a camera outside the home, a picture of what appeared to be a white female wearing a mask and pretty much covered except for her eyes to her mouth. And it was his ex-wife, and she broke into the home. And social media had already announced that she did it and found her guilty. Guess what?
Wasn't the one.
It wasn't the one.
Oh, okay. We need to secure the K9,
Oh, okay.
our security
Yeah.
officer. Maybe
Oh, yeah.
maybe he'll sell down.
Give me a shockwave.
Maybe
I
he'll
think
settle
Bob's
down.
got. I know he's got cat.
I do.
Well, we got cats too, and that dog thinks he's a cat.
He has an
sometimes.
orange cat that looks just like mine.
Oh, really?
Hi, come on over.
Your Honor, sir.
We're
morning.
so glad to have
Good to
you.
see you.
here.
Glad to be here.
It's been
It's
a
so
while
good
since
to
I saw
see
you. I've
you.
seen
Yes,
you.
sir.
Been great sometime. Oh, man, I like that tie. I should have worn one. Mine always say naughty or nice, and most of the time it says naughty. So, I got out of the business wearing ties some time ago, so thank goodness.
Well, you certainly
sir.
look well today.
Thank you.
You look so happy.
Thank you.
Judge, okay, now
He's changed your name.
I've changed your name. I added a little accent to the E. You are now Robert Rupe.
I've had friends. I have a couple of friends that when I was in
Do that?
college always called me Robert.
Well,
So I guess that was the French part of
it
it.
is the French part. So anyway, Judge, you're having a good time up there on that bench, huh?
I really enjoy it. I feel very blessed to be able to do it. It's hard for me to believe it's been almost 4 years.
Do you do you enjoy it with that thing up there called I call it a hammer, y'all call it a gavel? Do you enjoy beating that desk with it?
You know, interestingly enough, it's almost never used in court in my experience. I've held court in 17 different counties. Only one of the 17 actually has a gavel on the Superior Court.
Really?
I didn't know
And,
that. I just thought everybody had a.
We were having teen court about a year ago, and I felt like having a gavel would be a good thing just to show to the young people.
Right.
And I had to look all over the courthouse, and I finally found one.
Really?
So in my experience, both as a litigant and as a judge, I've never seen it used.
That's
Typically, if a
hilarious.
court needed to get someone's attention, you do it with your voice.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
sir.
Sit down and shut up.
I heard a judge say that to one
I'm
of my colleagues. Those
sure you
exact
have.
words. Yes, sir.
I've been in a lot of
Wow.
courts in the past over
Strickland.
with other things.
Yes,
Not as
sir.
a defendant,
Yes, sir.
but as taking defendants in.
Understood.
Anyway, well, it's and I was telling Lee, we have questions, and we challenge everything that you didn't
Yeah.
hear us, but they arrested a dude, and I got his arrest record. You see me scrolling, it's still going and still going and still
Oh
going
my God.
and still going and still going. He's the one that broke into the NASCAR guy's house,
Greg
or is
Griffith's
accused
house.
of it.
Yes.
The one that was
In
killed in a
Iowa.
helicopter crash.
Yes, sir.
Well, they got him, and he's got a history of B&E's, larceny, common law robbery, larceny of motor vehicle, larceny. He's an habitual felon, as you would hope
Yep.
that he would be by now. But he only served 7 years total time for about 40, 50 charges here, all felonies,
Yes,
or
sir.
most of them felonies. But but we get questions. I have questions,
Sure.
and but I have. Like I mentioned to Lee this morning, my last time that I had to go into a courtroom with taking somebody in there was 1997. Things have slightly changed.
Yes, sir.
There are a few laws that don't exist anymore. Failure to do right, they wouldn't let me arrest anybody for that
Yes, sir.
anymore. But a lot of things like that. So things do change. They do evolve because we got a bunch of people up there in Raleigh called legislators that like to play with the law, right?
Yes, sir.
And they
Yeah.
make modifications. You can't make it of your own laws, can you?
No, sir. No.
We start talking
Darn.
about cases and we're going like, how come he got that bond? He should have been locked up without bond. How come only this? And he's habitual. Why does he keep getting back into the streets and stuff?
Little things
And
like that.
little things like that we talk about. Where, of course, I'm ignorant of the law when it comes to stuff like that. And so with, you coming in, we had questions.
No, we
and
do. But we got a lot of people asking us questions.
Sure.
well, first, can I real quick just make an introduction? Of course, we all know he's Superior Court Judge. You're now the senior judge. Is that district court, Superior Court? Explain that.
Sure. So upon the retirement of my colleague Henry Stevens IV,
Mhm.
Yes.
he retired on May the 1st. I became the senior resident Superior Court Judge for this district, which is Onslow, Duplin, Jones, and Sampson counties.
Right.
There are two Superior Court judges in this district, Henry Stevens and myself. Since he retired, I'm the only one. And that has put a lot of load on me as far as paperwork and other things that I've had to do.
Right.
As the senior resident, I'm responsible for administrative tasks and overseeing things in the court, which I did not have to do prior to Judge Stevens' retirement. His seat will be filled in January by Robert Gilmore, who is a district court judge presently, who is running unopposed
Right.
to fill his seat. I think Robert will do a great job.
I think so too.
The governor has the authority, if he so chooses, to fill that seat by appointment. He has not done so at this point, so the seat has sat empty for almost 4 months. Frankly, by the population that we have in these 3 counties, we merit at least another judge. An example that I can give you is Craven, Carteret, and Pamlico. That district, that division, has 3 Superior Court judges, where in Onslow County, we have more people than all 3 of those counties combined. But we only have one. We only have 1 for Onslow and 2 for the district. So I'm probably going to be asking my legislators for some help with that. They have all been nice and good to me, both before and since I've been on the bench. So I'm hoping they may be able to help us out with that.
Well, aren't they opening up that new District 5A? Will that help?
No, so that is district court. So what has happened is we have 10 district court judges for Onslow, Duplin, Jones, and Sampson counties. And the legislature has decided to split our district for the purposes of district court. Onslow County will be its own district with 6 judges, and Duplin, Sampson, and Jones County will be its own district with 4 district court judges. So that will not affect what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Now, I would think that, I've known a lot of political governors in the past. They were politicians. They didn't know a lot about the law other than what they may have studied in the civics class at some point in time in junior high. We've all known governors like that, right? But our current governor, he had 8 years as the Attorney General of North Carolina, which is like the chief law enforcement officer in North Carolina. So
Yes, sir.
He should sort of kind of understand the needs here. Would you not think?
I do. Politics is politics, right?
Yeah.
And so, from my understanding, Governor Stein has not been reluctant in certain times to appoint governors to appoint Republicans, to certain judicial seats. I'm a Republican. Judge Gilmore is a Republican. Our governor is a Democrat. Governor Cooper did the same. He appointed Republicans to certain seats when he knew that the Republican was going to win it anyway. For example, with this seat that's open now, Robert's going to fill it in January. Nobody's going to want it other than him, I wouldn't think, to be a judge for just a couple of months. So there's a lot of things that go into that decision. And I think I know what's going on, but I'm not going to speculate about it on the air. But it has nothing to do with Robert. I think Robert will do an outstanding job. And it's my hope that the governor will choose to appoint him in the near future.
I've seen him quite a lot lately, like in Sampson and Duplin when I've been there. And just real quick to give some background history, you were appointed by the governor September 2nd, 2022, to fill the vacancy left by the retirement of Chuck Henry.
Yeah.
And that's true. So Judge Henry retired at the end of June of 2022.
Right.
Fantastic judge.
Yes.
Smart, patient, measured, just did a great job. But he ran up against the wall of turning 72 in North Carolina. If you are a trial judge when you turn 72, used to be you'd have to retire that month. They will now allow you to work the remainder of the year whenever you turn 72. So if you're born in January, you get almost an extra year. If you're born in December, it doesn't do you any good. But Judge Henry retired. I ran for the seat. Thankfully, I was unopposed. Did work hard for it.
Yes, you did.
But I was unopposed, so I was going to take the seat one way or another. And Governor Cooper decided to go ahead and appoint me. So that seat remained vacant for 3 months, and then I assumed it on October 1st, and I would have assumed it by election anyway on January 1st.
Right.
Interesting with Judge Henry.
Great guy.
Back in the 70s, he, as a lawyer, relatively fresh lawyer, he was the police advisor.
Yes, sir.
The legal advisor, JPD.
He was also a referee at the ball games.
For a long time. Football, no football, baseball, and probably others too.
Right.
You know who his girlfriend was at one time?
Who?
I think I do.
her last name was Pippin, became easily
Yes,
former governor.
that is
Before they
true.
got together, before they met.
Yes.
Anyway,
Eh,
the history I do remember
Okay.
a lot of.
So now we've got him appointed, and now you've been elected, and you continue to serve. So,
Let's start with some basics here.
Yeah,
'Cause
let's-
one of the biggest questions we get is, we got this dude, he's been arrested and he's in jail and he's in jail with no bond. And we got somebody else who's in jail for the same crimes and they put him under $100 bond or whatever. The police officer picks up a guy, takes him to the magistrate's office and either with a warrant or gets a warrant. And then there's a bond set by a magistrate generally.
Typically, a bond is set by a magistrate.
That the initial go round.
Yes, sir.
How do they? This is the biggest question that we get from people who have these concerns. How did he get out on just $100 bond or $5,000 bond or whatever? How did he get out for such a serious crime on such a low bond? Shouldn't he be in jail?
I think the background to start with is our bond law changed dramatically last year when the legislature enacted Irina's law.
right.
So people are much more likely now to be held than they were previously. Prior to Irina's law being enacted, the legislature had also made some other modifications to try to toughen up bonds. I think it's important as a point of reference to understand Onslow County, we have about 220,000 people. In our jail, we have about 500. And so I always kind of sit back with amusement when I hear people talk about mass incarceration in the United States, because I don't consider 0.2% of the population being incarcerated to be mass incarceration, especially if you listen to sociologists and psychologists. Rayford, you've probably heard talk of what's sometimes called the chronic 6% of the population that just is not going to obey the law. So if you start with that, I mean, if you go to the numbers in the prisons in North Carolina, we've got 11.3 million. It's about 32,000 people in prison.
Mm-hmm.
That's well less than 1/10%. So we probably, frankly, need larger prisons and larger local facilities, because one factor that is taken into account by judicial officials is you get someone that's pregnant, you get someone that has serious medical issues.
Mm-hmm.
They can cost the taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars very quickly. But to go back to your original question, up until about a year and a half ago, almost all bonds were set by magistrates. The magistrates have a bond guideline sheet that is drafted by the senior resident superior court judge and the chief district court judge. I have not yet participated in that drafting process, so the bond guidelines we have would be ones that had been set by my predecessor and our chief district court judge, Jim Moore. The legislature modified the law to require that if you were out on pretrial release already, in other words, you had posted a bond and now you've got arrested again. About a year or two ago, prior to Irina's law, the legislature determined that those people had to be held for a bond to be set not by a magistrate, but by a district court judge. So you have that group of people, because when I was a prosecutor, this frustrated me to death. Is like I would have somebody's case and I would try to resolve it, then they get arrested again, then they get arrested again. I'd have 3, 4, 5 different sets of charges, and then I'd have everybody else that they committed crimes with too. And so it kind of spider webbed out. But so most bonds are set by magistrates. If you have somebody that is already out on pretrial release, a district court judge has to set the bond. And due to Irina's law as well, there are considerations in higher level felonies where a district court judge now has to set the bond. So we have judges involved in setting bonds much more than we used to. Additionally, up until a couple years ago, for the most part, with some unusual exceptions that did not often apply, unless you were charged with capital murder, you were entitled to some sort of a bond.
Right.
Irina's
$10 million is a bond.
It could be $100 million,
Right.
but you were entitled to some sort of bond. Thanks to Irina's law, courts have a lot more discretion now to look at someone's record, both to look at the crime they committed and the facts of that crime, and also to look at their record and determine that that person should be held without bond. So our bond laws have tightened. The bonds are set in a vast majority of cases by magistrates. Now we have increasingly some bonds that are set by district court judges, and I rarely set a bond. About the only time that I set a bond is in pretty much every case that I have. I order that if the person is found to have possessed or used a controlled substance they're not allowed to possess or use, if I place you on probation and you do that, you're going to be arrested and you're going to be held until me or one of my colleagues can set your bond.
Okay.
So that is something that's kind of unique to me. That is something I decided to do when I became a judge. I'm not sure if any of my colleagues do it, but I want them to know that if you're on probation and you use, you're going to be arrested. But I'm not setting very many bonds. Most bonds are set by magistrates and district court judges.
Kind of in the beginning stages, the guy comes in and yada yada yada. He doesn't have a record. He's maybe traffic offenses or whatever, and he's got an offense. He's committed an offense, felony, whatever level. The old adage was, what's the likelihood he's not going to show up for court? What's his flight risk is the two words that they always used. Is that still one of the considerations?
There are two by statute.
Okay.
One, and I think the one that frankly we're less worried about is flight risk, because most people are not a flight risk. In this day and age, if the government really wants to find you, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
More important than that to me, and I think most judges, is this person a threat to public safety?
That's the other part.
That is the most important part. And if I feel like someone's a threat to public safety, then they're not getting out.
Domestic violence orders, those wonderful pieces of paper that has never stopped a bullet.
Yeah.
How do you set those bonds?
So I don't ever set those bonds.
No,
Those
but
bonds
not
are
you,
set
but
by
I'm talking-
district court judges. They have a number of factors that they look at. One program we've got that has been really great, and our sheriff's office has worked towards this. Our sheriff does a fantastic job.
He
I think
does.
the world of him. But we have a new monitoring system for domestic violence cases where district court judges have an option to place a GPS monitor on a person that's arrested for domestic violence. And that by itself is good because that lets us know where they are. But even better than that, and this is pretty new, they then will give a monitor to the person that's the victim in that case.
Oh.
And so if that person that is the victim is near the offender comes within a certain amount of their space, immediately the victim's electronic monitor will
Knows
go
about
off to let them know, okay,
that's
this
amazing.
person is
I
at
did not-
X place.
I didn't know about that. That's good.
And, one of the things that we try to be mindful of, certainly we want to protect the public. We also try to be mindful of public expenditure. And the people that need to be in jail, but jail is not free. And if there are people who can be supervised and who will show up for court, and we're not concerned that they're going to be a physical danger to somebody else, it's best to allow those people to be out on bond. Plus the general idea that, we don't want to punish somebody that's not been convicted.
Right.
So there are a lot of competing factors in play.
Well, I have a question going back to bail. Like, somebody's arrested, they're taken to the magistrate's office. The magistrate sets the bail. Now, once they go for their first appearance in Superior Court, as a judge, after getting both sides of the story, whatever, can you actually go back and change the original bail bond that he was put on?
So first appearances are almost always 99.9% of the time done in district court in
Right.
front of a district court
Okay.
judge. But yes, that district court judge can change that bond if he or she believes that it's too high or too low. And I can recall when I was a prosecutor, it was not unusual for a law enforcement officer to call me up at night and say, hey, we just arrested so-and-so. Magistrate set X bond. We don't think it's appropriate. Can we come to court with you tomorrow morning and have a bond hearing and ask the district court judge to consider increasing the bond? Most bond modifications are the defendant through counsel asking to have the bond lowered, but it's not always that way. Sometimes you have the prosecutor coming in saying, Judge, based on these facts that occurred prior to arrest, or based on these facts that have occurred after this person has been arrested and posted bond, we would like you to consider increasing this person's bond. So that does happen occasionally.
What is the biggest misconception about the bond process that you are familiar with? I know you don't personally, the Superior Court judges don't do a lot of bonds, but you hear cases if they want to appeal. I know defendants, the lawyers like to appeal and say, hey, that's a high bond. This man's got a family. He's a breadwinner, yada, yada, yada. I've heard those, you have, but what's the biggest misconception about all of that whole process?
Well, that's a really good question. Bonds are set by people, right? So we've got numerous magistrates in Onslow County, and they all kind of have their own way of seeing the world. The same is true of district court judges. Some district court judges are probably more likely to set higher bonds than others. And both the magistrates and the district court judges have discretion to do that. I think probably the idea that we have to be mindful of who is and who is not in custody, both because, we do want to protect the rights of a defendant and not punish somebody until they've been convicted. At the same time, there are certain people, based on the offense that they're charged with or their previous record, they need to be in custody until their case is tried for the safety of the community.
Right.
At the same time, with a county of 220,000 people and 500 people in jail, we can't put everybody in jail. We can't put everybody with a high bond because that simply wouldn't work. So we have to really put some thought process into, or the judges that set the bonds, is this somebody that for the safety of the public really needs to be out? And, in this day and age with social media, Mr. Brown, I know that you've worked in law enforcement. You are a keen observer of what goes on. So if you're putting an opinion online, it's going to be neutral and detached, and you're going to have some idea of what you're talking about. A lot of people, however, the opinion that they're putting online is not neutral and detached, nor do they know what they're talking about.
I've seen that. And excuse me, I saw where you actually put a post on your page addressing a lot of that, which I thought was really good.
Well, and a good example of that is this. So in my time as a prosecutor and as a judge, I don't have any experiences with the news media where anyone has been awful to me or like taken something I said and completely changed it. But we had a case in court on Monday where a defendant pled guilty to second-degree murder.
Right.
He had no prior record. The agreement between the state and the defendant called for him to get the highest possible sentence that he could get in what we call the presumptive range. The presumptive range is where 95% of people are sentenced. Every once in a while, you'll get someone sentenced in what we call the mitigated range. If you have unusual mitigating circumstances, occasionally you'll get somebody sentenced in the aggravated range. That's very unusual. But whenever somebody pleads guilty to a crime in front of me, the law requires that I tell them what the absolute maximum possible punishment for that offense is.
Right.
Not what they can get based on their record, but what the maximum possible punishment is. For second-degree murder, under very aggravated circumstances, if you have a terrible record, the maximum punishment for second-degree murder is life without parole.
Mm-hmm.
But that is very, very few and far between. You'd have to have a very bad record for that to happen. And so I knew I had news media there, so I always try to be mindful of what I say so people understand what I'm saying. And I told the defendant, you're charged with second-degree murder. The maximum punishment for that is life without parole. That's a true statement. I then told him, really for the benefit of those listening, however, because you have no prior record, you can't get that. The only time somebody could get life without parole was if they had a very bad prior record. You have no prior record, so I can't give you that. But the law requires that I tell you what the maximum punishment is. So, my hope is that the news media is not thinking, well, this guy was convicted of second-degree murder. The judge could have given him life, but he only gave him 25 years. And so I'm hoping that they're listening to that. And then I later see the article when one of the sentences in the, 8-sentence article is the judge told the defendant life that he could get the maximum punishment for second-degree murder is life without parole. That's true, but didn't apply to him and doesn't apply to most people. And so oftentimes we have folks that will go online, and I'm all for people expressing their opinion. But if they are really tied into a case, or you have others who think they know a lot about the system, and I'm not saying they're not smart, but they don't know how the system works. You got a lot of people putting stuff online that just isn't true or only gives a portion of the story.
Interesting. That is really interesting.
There's a whole lot that goes on behind the scenes. It's not in a bad way, but just trying to work up a case. It starts with both the law enforcement, then the DA is going to be involved, as you know. There is just a lot of effort that goes into making sure that a defendant not only, and I know our current DA, he's looked at people and said, you know what, we got to make sure this guy is treated justly.
Yes.
I've seen a few cases where it was like, you know, and I know him. Ernie's called and said, I need more information before I can move forward with taking this guy to trial. So he's challenged cops to provide more information because he wants to get the most for the guy that he can, but only if he's deserving of it.
Correct.
Okay,
So I like that. He's representing the people.
And that's the way it should be, because
Yeah.
you know, he would tell you if he was in here, because I've heard him say this, you know, the district attorney has tremendous power in the court system.
Oh, yeah.
You could argue, I think probably correctly, that he has more power than I do, because I can't handle a case unless it comes in front of me, and the case doesn't come in front of me unless he or one of his assistant district attorneys bring it to me. And he often said justice in a case can be anything between being convicted at trial and getting the most severe sentence to a dismissal, and everywhere in between. So it is very dependent on the case. But I only see a case unless it's brought to me.
Yep.
And so, you know, the district attorney has tremendous authority, and we're fortunate in our district that we have a good one.
Okay, I have some, excuse me, a question, because I'm a little confused because I don't know. What kind of cases does Superior Court handle that the district court doesn't handle? I mean, is there a difference?
Great question, and there's a big difference. Most people that encounter court are going to encounter court at the district court level. The district court level is where the judges are making all the decisions, both the legal decisions and the factual decisions. So they are deciding whether or not a person is guilty. They're deciding who child custody goes to. They're deciding whether a juvenile was found to be delinquent or abused or neglected. In the district court, probably what most people think of when they think of district court is traffic court, and that is part of it. So the district court handles all misdemeanors, and that's both traffic and non-traffic misdemeanors. District court also does a lot of family law work. So they're handling divorces, child custody, alimony, child support, juveniles who are alleged to have been delinquent, i.e. they've committed a crime, or juveniles who are alleged to be abused or neglected. In Superior Court, we are the highest trial level court in the state. What most people would think of when they come to Superior Court is the fact that most of what we do as far as trials is done by jury. Criminal court is felonies. All felonies are done in Superior Court. And if you're charged with a misdemeanor in North Carolina and you're convicted by a judge at a bench trial, you have a right to appeal that to a jury trial. So most of what we do in Superior Court is felony cases. We also handle civil cases where the amount in controversy is more than $25,000. So the plaintiff has alleged that his or her damages are greater than $25,000.
Got it.
I seem to recall, and I don't know whether it was in North Carolina or whether it was yesteryear in North Carolina, that in a district court criminal case, that a defendant could actually request a jury trial in district court. Was that ever the case in North Carolina?
In civil court, yes.
Okay.
In criminal court, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Now, if they, let's say I go to district court, I'm found guilty of whatever the offense is, felony, and I say I'm going to appeal it to Superior Court, whatever it is. Do I have to have a jury trial? Can I request the judge just be trial, the judge and jury?
So great question. And the answer to that up until about 10 to 15 years ago was you have to have a jury trial.
Really?
Our legislature changed the law to say that a defendant can request a bench trial.
Right.
And then the legislature put a bunch of factors in for the court to consider. one of the things that I thought was interesting when that law was initially passed, it gave the state, the prosecutor, no say in that. Basically, the defendant got to ask for it if the judge could do it if he wanted to. It has now changed, and I think this is right, that the state at least gets to be heard. So the court can do a bench trial if the court decides to. I have not done one yet. I think the right to a jury trial is a fundamental right. It's in our Constitution. And I'm not saying that I never would do so, but particularly in a criminal case, I myself would be very reluctant to do one. I have the authority to do it. But I think the right to a jury trial is both in our federal and state constitution. And my thought is when you come up to the highest trial level court in the state and you've requested a jury trial, you should get a jury trial.
How many of our
Interesting, yeah.
fine citizens actually end up in front of a Superior Court judge and say, I'm representing myself?
Good question. That seems to be something that is on the increase,
Really?
particularly in civil court. Not necessarily
okay.
so much in criminal court, but in civil court. And I think there's a variety of reasons for that. It's not cheap to be in civil court. You're not entitled to an attorney the same way you are in criminal court. And one interesting development that we've had, I think, is we're starting to see more what we call pro se or self-represented litigants. And I don't mind anybody exercising their rights. That's fine. But it can be difficult to navigate. You know, if I tried to come here tomorrow morning and sit down where you're sitting and run your board, I wouldn't know what I was doing. And, I think it's dangerous for most people to come into court without an attorney. But an additional issue we've had with that is twofold. One, about 2 years ago, we went online with a system called Odyssey. So our court records are all digital. They're all online. So anybody that would come to my court would see that I have two computer screens in front of me. Mm-hmm. And as I'm holding court, they would see me moving back between those two screens. I will often tell jurors, I'm not up here playing solitaire. I'm looking at the cases because one screen will have the case and then the other screen is the documents from the case. So anybody can go online and access documents, public record documents, and most of the documents are public record. So you can sit in your grandma's basement and look at all the court records. You also can file things electronically now, so you don't even have to come down to the courthouse. And that, in addition with some of the clerk's requirements in accepting filings, regardless of whether or not the people have paid, people are filing things that they otherwise wouldn't file because they actually had to put on some clothes and go down to the courthouse and go to the clerk's office and pay a fee to file it. I mean, I'm all for increased access to justice. That's a good thing. But it also has allowed certain people to come into the system who, frankly, are abusing the system and filing frivolous and malicious suits.
And it can come back and bite you by the other guy at some point in time.
Add AI to that. So now people can sit in their basement and file documents and use AI programs to draft what they think are sufficiently legal documents, which often are not. And so that's becoming increasingly a problem in civil court. In criminal court, not so much. I always encourage people and tell them, what we're doing here is serious. You have the right to an attorney. You can represent yourself if you want to. You've got every right to do that. But what we're doing here is serious. There's a lot at stake, and you really should strongly consider having an attorney assist you to make sure your rights are protected.
As a judge, do you maybe let them get away with a little bit more than you would an attorney representing them?
Gosh, that's a great question. We're not supposed to, right?
Right.
I mean, I tell people that if you decide to represent yourself, I'm going to treat you the same way I would treat an attorney because that's what the law requires. I always try to be mindful of justice and access to justice. And, if I've got a self-represented litigant and they're mostly doing what they need to do, I can't give them advice, but I do want them to be treated fairly. So I have to balance the concept of anyone that appears in front of me is going to be treated. It is, but I also want to make sure that people are treated fairly and that it's just not some technicality or some word they're not using that prevents them from getting the justice that they should get.
Well, Judge, we had the district attorney in here last week. He comes in a lot, and we asked him a lot of questions too. But we were kind of centering on one part of the questions, like how do you handle plea deals, like the district attorney and then the defense attorneys get together, they work out a plea deal or whatever. And how do you react as a judge when your DAs and your defense attorneys all get together and work out a plea bargain? Is that something that you just have to accept as the judge, or do you have the ability to say no, or how do you handle that?
Great question.
Excellent question. I do not have to accept plea bargains.
Right.
Almost always I will, because I understand that the parties in front of me know a lot more about the case than I do. I also understand, from having worked as a prosecutor for 22 years and now as a judge for 4, what the realm of reasonableness is. And we can't send everybody to prison. Again, 32,000 beds in a state of 11.2 million people, less than 0.2%. So there's limited space. When I'm looking at people, whether they need to go to prison, my first thought is this person a public safety danger? Is it possible they might go out and hurt somebody? And if I feel like there's a strong possibility of that, if I can send them to prison, I do. But sometimes I don't have that option. I can come back to that in regards to sentencing. But and then you have certain people, and some drug addicts would fall in this category. I don't necessarily think are dangerous. I'm not concerned they're going to go out and hurt somebody, but they just won't stop committing crimes. And someone like that has got to be taken off the street because
Fentanyl,
Right.
Yes, sir.
deadly weapon.
Yes, sir. So no, I don't have to accept every plea bargain that's put in front of me. It is not uncommon for the attorneys to approach me before a case occurs and say, hey, can we talk to you about this case? And for them to get some feel about what I would do, or to ask me, this is what we've agreed to. Are you okay with that? In most circumstances, I will do that because my knowledge of the case is limited, especially if I've got Mr. Lee on one side and I say I had Ed Bailey on the other side, recently dearly loved, departed dean of our bar. Got, between the two of them, 100 years of experience. If they tell me that, this is reasonable,
Right.
I'm going to go along with that,
That's
right?
great,
So
man.
no, I don't have to accept a plea offer. I usually do. However, there is a spot on what we call our transcript of plea, where if I reject an offer, I can write on this day and time I rejected that offer. So any judge that comes behind me knows that it was put in front of another judge and that judge rejected it. It doesn't mean that judge has to reject it. He or she can do whatever he or she thinks is right, but it gives them that knowledge that someone else looked at this before they did.
Well, what is an Alford plea? Alford?
Great question. So State v. Alford is a North Carolina Supreme Court case. I think it's from the 70s. It may be the early 80s. In that case, the United States Supreme Court, the North Carolina Supreme Court decided that a defendant has a constitutional right to plead guilty even if he or she is not willing to admit that they're guilty.
Right.
In practice, it's not that different from what we would call a no contest plea. But in an Alford plea, you're pleading guilty, but you're not saying you're guilty. But what you're saying is, I believe it's in my best interest to accept this plea, probably because you think even if deep in your heart you don't believe you're guilty, you think that the state can probably prove the case against you. So the court would say, do you understand that even though you're not admitting guilt, I'm going to treat you like you are guilty? And then also ask that person, are you entering this plea because you believe it's in your best interest? So our Supreme Court decided that you have a state constitutional right to enter a guilty plea, even if you're not willing to admit that you're guilty.
Does that mean that they're going to get a lesser sentence? Is that part of the
Great
negotiations?
question, and the answer to that is no. So if you plead guilty, you plead no contest, you plead Alford. And again, not much distinction in fact from no contest and Alford. The sentencing is exactly the same.
No contest.
So he gets no mitigated sentence because he accepts an Alford plea.
And frankly, one of the things that I would consider as a judge, usually those cases are sentenced the same, but it is always in your benefit to a court if you're willing to come forward and say, yeah, I did this. Mm-hmm. You take responsibility for what you did.
Is it going to make a difference in their sentence?
Usually no, but it does help a defendant when somebody will stand in front of me and be honest either through their counsel or themselves and not argue or quibble, say, yes, my person did this, they shouldn't have done it, it was stupid, it was a bad decision, these are the things they've done to atone for it and to do better. I think all of us, just thinking outside the court system, if someone does you wrong, if they come to you and apologize and they acknowledge they were wrong, then you're probably going to take that a little better.
How hard is it on you as a judge when something like this occurs and the victims' families are very upset that a plea was entered and accepted? How do you do? Does that bother you?
That does not in practice happen all that often. I'm not sure if you discussed this with Mr. Lee because he could enlighten you on it some,
Right.
but almost always when a prosecutor brings a plea to court, they have sat down and spoken in great detail with the victim's family.
I see.
Both the state statutes and the state constitution requires that victims have certain rights, and that includes the right to be heard by the prosecutor and sit down and speak with them about the case, and also court to say whatever you would like to say to the judge. Often, it's quite rare actually, that you'll have a case where it'll be brought before me for a plea and the victim's family doesn't want it done, because usually the prosecutor has laid that ground with them where they've sat down with them and explained the facts, explained the law, and said, this is what I'm inclined to do, and let me tell you why. So when you've got a good prosecutor, Mr. Lee would always do this. By the time that person comes into court, they understand, what the plea is and why it's being done. So it's not common that it happens. When it does happen, I will I'll hear what they have to say, and I'll try to give them some explanation for what's happening. There have been cases where the state wanted to do a plea, but because the victim's family didn't want it, I did not accept it. So I do have that discretion as well.
Wow, this is so interesting.
Yeah, when you get to deals, plea bargains or whatever that they're going to be doing, and you're deciding to, as a DA, law enforcement officers, they knew it. Everybody they arrest is guilty. We know it, right? That's just a given line. We wouldn't arrest them if they weren't guilty, right? Why would I arrest somebody that's not guilty? So I am the first stage there of being guilty. But when I get to the district attorney, or any law enforcement officer gets to a district attorney and they say, I've got this thing, I got to prove to 100% of 12 people that this person is guilty. What you got? What you going to do? Now, he's agreed to plead guilty, but he doesn't want to go to spend the rest of his life in prison. Were we going to roll the dice here? Do we have enough to guarantee that we're going to convict him? I know that has to be taken into account.
There are considerations on both sides, right?
Yeah.
So both in criminal and civil court, if you put something in the hands of a jury, you don't know what they're going to do.
Right.
So one of the things that I would tell people before I went onto the bench as a prosecutor is I would sit and speak with victims' families, is I would lay out with them, okay, this is what the facts show.
Mm-hmm.
Not this is what I think, this is what I can prove in court.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then this is what the law says, because as I'm sure you know, Mr. Brown, from your conversations with district attorneys during your time as a law enforcement officer and afterwards, it's a big difference between probable cause and proof beyond a reasonable
That's
doubt. And before I went on the bench, I tried somewhere between 105 and 110 jury trials as a prosecutor. Wow. So, and that was great because that gave me the ability to sit down with law enforcement officers and tell them, I've tried this case before and this is how it turns out. Because again, you know, from your experience in law enforcement, what you think happens to what actually happens in court are two different realities. But I think what it ultimately comes down to is, in many cases, the state and the defendant will decide that the uncertainty of a jury trial is not worth the risk. And there is risk on both sides of that.
I've watched, as I'm sure you have, victims. Okay, they were doing things they were not supposed to be doing, and they died. For instance, because I used to do I processed crime scenes. They were not, if they had not been doing the criminal acts that they were involved in doing, they would not have been killed. Not right that they got killed, But a jury, in reality, is going to consider that at times too, won't they?
They might. When I was a prosecutor and I would try a sexual assault case, those were hard cases to try.
God,
And I'll
that
tell
was-
you, one of the things that made them very difficult is a lot of people, just particularly other women, and this, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm
You're
just
not.
laying it the way it
It's a fact.
Right.
is if you had a case where you had a woman who was sexually assaulted, other women on that jury may say to themselves,
Ain't no
I
way.
would never do X. I would not be in this position. I would have yelled. I would have screamed. And I can tell you from 22 years doing that, you think you know what you're going to do, but you
You
don't know
do
what you're going to
not
do
know.
until that actually happens. So I would use the example. I would say, do you think that a nun deserves more protection than a prostitute? Under the law, the answer to that is no.
Good point.
The
That's
answer
exactly the
is
law.
no.
Good point.
So nobody deserves to be the victim of a crime. The reality is, by our actions, we can make ourselves more or less likely. But nobody deserves to be victimized.
But we as human beings, and particularly those sitting on a jury, will say, that crime is more heinous. That nun was raped. Come on. I mean,
And that's why,
this hooker, no, she knew what she was getting into.
as a litigant, I really wanted to take some time during jury selection and kind of work those biases out.
Yeah.
And say, I want you to think about this. If you think that a prostitute is deserving of less protection than a nun, raise your hand and let's talk about it. So I wanted people to get that out in front of their mind and really think about
Does
it.
anybody ever raise their hand?
Occasionally you would have somebody, really not all that. I think most people, they'll hear that and they'll be like, oh, they would say that's true. That's true. But
Yeah.
you might have somebody every once in a while that
That's
would
a good
would
point.
raise their hand, and then you could use that to flesh out what they thought and what the other people thought too. So
Well, you bring up a very good point, and you were talking about juries, and I'm going to ask you the same question that we asked the district attorney when he was in there last week. This is kind of on a personal level. So you have a jury trial. The jury reaches their verdict. Have you ever gone home at night and said, man, the jury, they messed up on this one big time?
yes,
And how do you deal with those feelings? I mean, the jury has made the decision. You have to abide by that,
that's
right?
right. So as a judge, I have to stay neutral. My job is to make sure in a criminal trial the defendant receives a fair trial. And I can't do or say anything to show impartiality. And I even tell the jurors at the end of the case, ladies and gentlemen, my duty is to be impartial. If you've seen me do anything, if you've seen a look on my face, if you've heard a tone in my voice, you cannot extrapolate anything from that. Your job is to follow the law as it is. So, I have had cases that have appeared in front of me as a judge where juries have reached a verdict different than I thought. And I thought to myself, well, that's interesting, but I have to stay impartial. And, I don't criticize them one way or the other. It was a little bit different when I was a litigant. In particular, that sexual abuse cases, particularly those were
Oh.
really, really hard cases because people correctly want people that do that to be severely punished, and they should be.
Yes.
But you put those same people on a jury, and they are going to view the evidence differently than they would if they're sitting behind their keys on Facebook. And one of the biases that I constantly saw is, I think, maybe because of what I did before I was a judge, you see just some of the evil in the world. And people, I think they'll sit on a jury and they'll say, I would never do that. And they're right. They wouldn't do it. Or they would think, my uncle would never do that. And they're probably right. Their uncle would never do it. But really bad things happen sometimes. And I had a couple of cases that I prosecuted that involved sexual assault. The jurors entered verdicts of not guilty. And one in particular that to this day lives with me. And there's a particular road that this young lady lived on, and I drive by that road all the time, and I still think about her. So, I carry that with me. I always felt like, I wish I could have done better for her. But I remember after the trial was done, one of the things I did when I first started out as a prosecutor is I would try to speak to the jurors either in the jury room before they left, or I would call them and say, look, it would be very helpful to me if you would give me some feedback on what you thought and how I did. And don't be afraid to hurt my feelings because I want to get better at this job. So please tell me what you think. And I could go into the facts of that case. I probably shouldn't, but I thought it was just as obvious as could be that this young girl was forcibly raped. The jury reached a different conclusion. And I remember afterwards speaking with some of the jurors and some of the harshness with which they viewed this girl. I was thinking, wow, this is just unbelievable. But it was eye-opening to me. And it helped me as I moved forward to better evaluate cases in the future.
If you ever get to where you've got you've got enough jurors, except you're missing one, you've got 11, you're good to go. You're missing one. I got a recommendation for you. She watches a lot of court TV.
I do.
And she has an opinion about everything.
Well, I think Lee would be an excellent juror.
She would be an excellent juror.
No,
I do too.
Well, I've never been a juror. They always tell me, they always excuse me.
Why do they kick me off? I don't excuse me, they kick me out. Now,
Well, see, I had
what's my
past
problem?
history with law enforcement at related fields.
That shouldn't be a.
Plus, I worked at the post office, and they don't want anybody from the post office on the jury.
Well, attorneys will do the strangest things. You could ask Mr. Lee about this the next time he comes in here. But many, many years ago, he had federal jury duty.
Oh.
And I would think that most
Wow.
most prosecutors would want Mr. Lee on their jury.
Oh, yeah.
And it just so happened that in this particular case, this is my recollection, you could confirm this with Mr. Lee, he's in federal court, he has jury service, he's being questioned, and he knows the defendant's attorney. They're not really all that well. They're not close by any means.
Right.
And the prosecutor gets rid of him, the district attorney. So, you never know what the attorneys are thinking. Selecting a jury, I found it is a guessing game. You try to get as much information as you can, but it doesn't mean at the end of the day, the decision you make is the right one. Because there was oftentimes when I would have a jury in front of me and I thought, man, this person is with me. And they weren't. Or I would have somebody else that just the looks on their face, I was like, this person is not with me at all. And then I talked to them afterward, and they were my strongest advocate. So
Really?
I was called for a case in New Hanover. I was at Curie Beach at that time, had been an officer at Carolina Beach, and they called me for jury duty. So I dutifully go up there, and I get called in. The judge is from somewhere else, didn't know me, I didn't know him. And I sat down. I was a number 12th person on that first jury panel call. And the judge is saying, did his charging and asking questions. And of course, we got a case here and lots of cool stuff. As anybody in here been the victim of a crime?
Me?
Yes, sir, Mr. Brown. Could I ask you what the crime was? I said resisting arrest would be one of them. He thought about it for about 3 seconds, and he said, "Are you now, or were you an officer?" I said, "Yes to both." He said, "May I ask where?" At the table was a Curie Beach officer with the prosecutor. A Curie Beach officer and a Carolina Beach officer, they had worked a case together. I said, "Well, first, I'm at Curie Beach. I was at Carolina Beach." He said, "Mr. Brown, you're excused." I said, "When I walked through the door, I didn't have a whole lot of doubt of that one, Your Honor." I was gone.
Well, Rafer talked about me watching court TV, and I
Everybody's
go into
guilty.
it. No, I go into it and try to act as if I'm a juror. And I tried to, and usually a lot of the cases that I've watched in the past, within the first week, I've already made my decision before the case was over and been right there with the jury, on what they decided. But I'm watching one right now that is I don't know if you're familiar with the Lindsay Clancy trial. She killed her 3 kids.
I have heard of it. I'm not intimately familiar with it, but I've seen social media posts about it.
Well, I'm watching the actual court TV, and there's a lawyer's podcast that I watch that helps explain a lot of things going on in the court. And right now, I honestly can't. I'm still waiting for the rest. I'm going to sit this one through. They said it could take up to 8 weeks. We're like in week number 2. This is an extremely complex case, and it has to deal with mental illness, and it has to deal with the whole system not coming together and doing what they needed to do as far as helping this woman. Does that make her not guilty? Or is it a case where she was actually very mentally ill? And this has been mind-boggling for me. Have you ever had cases like that?
Referring to cases of somebody that is alleged to have had mental illness.
Yes, and maybe committed, a murder or assault or something like that.
Yes.
That's tough.
Yes. So one that comes to mind, and I can say the name publicly, and folks could look up public records, would be a lady named Angela Olson. It was a case that happened here in Onslow County a number of years ago, and the first step for somebody to go to trial is they have to be determined to be capable of proceeding.
Right.
And in North Carolina, that means that you're able to understand the nature of the proceedings against you, and that you're able to assist your attorney in your defense. It doesn't mean that you have a 150 IQ. It doesn't mean that you understand all the complexities of a criminal trial. A very, very large majority of people pass that test with no problem. Miss Olson was charged with killing her baby, and she was sent for a capacity evaluation. And this is all public record. I can't tell you about the specifics of the capacity evaluation,
Right.
but she was found to be incapable. When somebody's found to be incapable, the next step is there's determination, can this person be restored to capacity? In a large majority of cases, the answer to that is yes. So what would happen is, if you're an Onslow County resident, you would be sent to Cherry Hospital in Goldsboro, and they would spend time both individual therapy, group therapy to explain to you how court works, and perhaps medication if that is necessary to assist you. And in most cases, that therapy can get somebody to the point where they are capable. Unfortunately, that point could not be reached with Miss Olson.
But you can't go back at a later date when she becomes capable and say, okay, we're going to go now.
Yes, you could.
Oh, you
So
can?
you could. So,
And then the argument's going to be by the defense attorney, well, at that time.
and that's true. And that is an argument that could be made. So there are different levels of mental defense. One would, if the person is incapable of proceeding, and those are opinions that are drawn by psychiatrists, and psychiatrists that draw them, usually what the state requests them, are up in Central Regional Hospital in Butner, and they don't have a dog in the fight.
Mhm.
They're not trying to prove the person is or is not capable. They're just trying to give an objective opinion. A defendant has the right to retain his or her own experts. Their objectivity, I'll let you, you can make your own determination on that. But the idea behind the experts at Central Regional Hospital is that they are objective, and they're just trying to determine, is this person capable or not? If not, can they be restored? So if you have someone that's been restored, they could argue what we would shorthandedly refer to as temporary insanity, which would be as at the time this happened.
Is there a time limit on that?
Not really. You could argue that either due to mental or substance abuse,
Right.
that you did not understand the nature of what you were doing, and that would be a question for a jury to decide.
Wow.
Doesn't happen all that frequently.
Right. Right.
I'm impressed, number one, that you came in.
Oh, I'm glad to. It's
I'm
my
going to sign
pleasure.
up for judge. I feel so educated this morning.
Well, there you go. You don't have competition in the next, now you got to be a lawyer. You won't get there.
Guess not happening.
But I'm impressed that you came in.
Very. We were so excited.
And I purposely said that we weren't going to take any phone calls today.
Right.
Nobody. We, in the future, when you come in, if we want to, we can set some ground rules, which I always want to set ground rules
Right.
with you or Mr. Lee or
We do the same thing with
sheriff
Ernie, yes.
and some other individuals, because people can go off on tangents, and la la land very quickly. And I know that, but we'll set ground rules. If that's okay with you, we'll pick a
Listen,
time.
that would be fantastic. So, as a note of explanation, as a Superior Court judge, I can hold court anywhere in the state.
Right.
However, they have split our state up into 5 judicial divisions. That's not the same as a judicial district. Superior Court is split into 5 divisions.
I was wondering
And
why
they-
you were going like to Carteret
They
County.
usually
Yeah.
keep us in our division. So the division which I am, It goes down to Brunswick County, down to South Carolina, all the way over to Lumberton,
Right.
Clinton, and then up to Goldsboro,
Good
New
luck.
Bern, Snow Hill, and then Carteret County.
Right. 'Cause
So
yeah.
I'm most likely to hold court anywhere in those counties. And they assign us to a district for 6 months at a time. This 6 months, I am assigned home on the
good.
Duplin Jones
I
Sampson.
didn't know
But
that.
that's the first time in 3 years that's happened.
Well,
The
good.
last 3 years,
And
I've
we
been
want
holding
to
court.
take advantage of that.
And I would be happy to do it. So I know I'll be back, and I'll certainly get up.
I didn't
and leave.
realize
And
that.
it's my pleasure to come in because I want people to know what we're doing. And if people want to ask questions about it, I'm all for it.
I will
Well,
tell
I've
you
learned
that-
a lot.
I will tell you that no trial, no cases that have not been adjudicated, if they're up for appeal or whatever, we will not get into those. I won't let our
Right,
callers
right,
get
no,
into. I
yeah.
got the microphone control. I am in control.
Yeah, we're
Yes, sir.
respectful of that.
So I don't want it to taint in a bad way any case. I don't want to hurt the defendant, but I certainly don't want to hurt the state.
Well, I do want to tell you that we've had a comment. There's been several comments, all very positive. And this one comment was, "Thank you, Judge Rube, for your service. I know you were a judge that listens to both sides in court and takes every case seriously and thoroughly to make your fair and honest decision on the outcome according to the law." Thank you, Joy.
Very
What
kind.
is
I do
the
want to read that to you.
funniest? I love comedy, okay? I love comedy.
Yeah, you
What
are
is the
funny.
funniest situation since you've been on the
Oh,
bench?
Yeah.
Since
Yeah,
you dealt
we
with
wanna
either
know.
from a defendant, was it a sovereign citizen? Have you had to deal with one of those yet?
I have. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's got to be hilarious.
A couple of things come to mind very quickly about things that happened when I was a prosecutor trying cases. Since I've been a judge, I'd have to give that one some thought.
Well, as a prosecutor, because it's all pretty much the same. It's a court process.
I think this is hilarious, and I thought it was funny when it happened. So we had a judge named Jack Jenkins who was from Morehead City. Loved him. He was great. Nothing but good things to say about him. He was a special superior court judge, meaning he was appointed by the governor, and he went all over the state holding cases. But because he was from Morehead City, he often came here. And one morning, I was sitting in court, and we were sitting in what we now call courtroom 8, which we used to call courtroom 4. And as you know, Rayford, and you may know, Lee, in North Carolina, one thing we do that's markedly different than what people see on television is we do not stand when we question witnesses. So almost everything you do as an attorney in North Carolina, you do from a seated position, unless you are addressing the court directly. So one particular morning, this was back when my wife was expecting our second child, and she was having really bad insomnia. And so I was trying everything I could do to not wake her up before I left. So I got dressed in the dark. And we're selecting a jury.
I'll see where this is
And
going.
after about an hour and 30 minutes, the judge calls me and the defense attorney up to the bench and says, "Mr. Root, if you didn't know this, I just thought it'd be interesting for you to know you're wearing 2 different color shoes." And it wasn't like brown and light brown. It was black and red. And I didn't realize that. I looked down and I was like, I wish I would have said I got another pair like that at home.
You do.
But I didn't. And I looked down and I just smiled and I said, "You're right. You're exactly right." And I kind of chuckled to myself. And he said, "I thought that would be funny for everyone to see. You can have a seat." Because where I was seated before, they couldn't see it.
Story.
And so, I went home with the lunch break and changed my shoes. And I'm not trying to
You
speak
put the
back.
other pair on just like it?
I should have, right? I should have came back and said, "Judge, I've got the other pair. Aren't you impressed?" But, I thought that was funny. So,
I
Yes, sir.
like it. I like it. So anyway, yeah, there's lots of funny things that do happen.
yes, sir.
I have a couple more comments I want to read to you. One is from a beautiful woman. She's a great cook. She said, "Excellent job, very informative. You all need a series addressing questions to help the general public understand the system." You may know her. Her name is Amanda. So
My
anyway,
beautiful wife.
yes, she is fabulous. And then we had another gentleman named Stephen. And he says, as the father of a victim who I believe was poorly treated within the North Carolina justice system, I still believe that Judge Roop is a good and just man, and I would love an opportunity to speak with him.
I would assume you're probably referring to Mr. Patton.
Yep.
Yes.
And my heart goes out to him. He suffered a terrible loss of a child.
I can't,
I have
cannot
suffered some
imagine.
difficult losses, but by God's
Yes,
grace, I have
yes.
not lost a child. So my heart certainly, it did and continues to go out to him and to his family.
Well, you've got people listening from all over right now. So,
Oh yeah, that's
yes, I
one
mean,
of the things we
great
found
comments,
during
great
this
comments.
internet thing.
right.
I don't know where they come from. When
Yeah, we have them
we had
from
after a football game, I post pictures of when we go to the Jacksonville games.
Go Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Well, I think
And I started
Archie
just
won,
shooting pictures, and I post them. I used to do commercial photography and crime scene photography, so I enjoy it. We had 70,000 hits that one
Mhm.
evening.
That's amazing.
70,000.
We get them from all
From
over.
all over the world.
Yes.
People that were here, that are moved around. They just search
People
for
adapt
Jacksonville.
to social media better than
Oh,
they do to
Lord.
AM FM radio.
Oh yeah.
And we've picked up listeners from all over the United States. We have regular listeners from California, Florida, Canada.
I had a call from a
Alexa, cancel. What?
we have her there too.
Oh, she
Excellent.
wanted to
What
get
I
her
like
2
to do,
cents in that.
I irritated her when she was at home before she was part of the show.
Yes.
She has that thing at home, right?
It's when Dee Dee was here. And,
So I just popped up
Elliot.
one morning, and of course they've got them up here. Then they were all listening. People listening on the radios. They got their systems turned up wide open in the house. And I said, I won't
He
say.
said the name.
I won't say
Call.
her name. I said, yeah, call, and then I gave the number.
And all my Alexas start dialing, and I'm running all over the house trying to cancel them all. Ran into the vacuum cleaner, almost broke my toe. I was like, Rayford!
I was going to be sued for that.
Oh, here's another comment from, I take it, a friend named Eddie. Bob loves NC State, so tell him to throw up the Wolfpack hand sign. Eddie Pollock.
Yeah, he knows better than that.
Do you?
I'm a big Tar Heel,
I know you are.
but love Eddie. What a great guy. he
Yes,
is.
yes.
I was going to say I got a couple of fenders over there from a boat that I got North Carolina Wolfpack on.
No, I know
North Carolina
that Bob
State
is a
Wolfpack.
UNC Tar Heel. I know that.
Through and through. Yes, ma'am.
He's got goats. I got a wolf.
Hey, I'll take the goat any day over the wolf or over the devil.
Judge, thank you. We do appreciate it, and we'd love
Yes.
to have you in here as often as you're available, anytime. We will make time.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
I will let you know when I'm back in Onslow
Okay.
County. Thank you guys for having me on.
It's our pleasure.
Lee, I've known you for a number of years. You've
Yeah.
always been incredibly kind to me, and same with you, Mr. Brown. You've always been
I'm
very
not
kind.
Mr. anything. My
Well-
dad was.
Well, I love your parents, so what wonderful people.
Okay, you can do away with that FTA, okay?
The what?
The failure to appear.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, because of the mess up last week, the misunderstanding. And so Rayford had this
Oh,
ready
boy.
for you.
But
And
this
I'm
is
like-
going to take us back to what kind of bond I'm going to get, right?
I'm like, you're seriously not going
no.
to do that.
I thought you'd enjoy it.
That's why I hid it under my laptop.
And I see you've
forgot
got
about
Judge Boney's name on
Oh,
it.
absolutely. Why
A
not?
blast from the past.
Oh, with a hat.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
In case listeners are wondering, Rayford typed him up a failure to appear. Is that what it was?
it's a valid form.
Well, you need one of these days. This is going to backfire on you. This is why I kept it hidden.
In
I
the
was
old
like,
days,
I'm not
it-
doing it.
With the traffic citations that we had.
Yes.
You had 2 charges available
Yes.
right there.
Yes.
On one of, I did not like white warning tickets. They were stupid. No, didn't get anybody's attention. So
You're mean.
I copied a citation, whited out. Remember those days with white out?
Right.
I whited out charge number 2, and I
Right.
put failure to do right.
Uh.
And I would hand that out as my warning, and I checked it and handed out as a warning citation to people.
When I was in college, I worked as a campus security officer.
Oh,
And that was the most fun job I've ever
I
had.
bet.
And I had a buddy of mine, God bless him. He was a great guy, but he just always parked illegally. And he was a big Georgia Tech fan. And so I saw him parked illegally yet again.
Ooh.
I never wrote him a ticket myself. I probably should have, but I didn't. He was my friend. And so I saw his car, and I brought out a warning ticket, and I wrote him a $5 million ticket for being a Georgia Tech fan.
Oh,
And I didn't do this on purpose, but I just so happened to be standing in view when he walked out to the car. And he walked out and he had this angry look on his face when he saw the ticket. And then he picked it up and looked at it, and he started laughing, and he was looking all over for me. But
Well, I had another comment pop up from Andrew Bowser. He said, "Good morning, Judge. Never met a judge outside of court, so when it comes to voting for one, we don't know anything about them besides an R or D next to the ballot." And I will tell you that Judge Roop, he's out there. And when it comes re-election time, you're out there.
I think it's what he does the
Right.
rest of the time other than election time.
Right.
I know you got to do that to get the votes to make sure you win.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's your daily work in and out that I encourage people to listen to people like this
Absolutely.
on this show and other
Right.
places. Research them. Every trial that comes up, you can look at the decisions. You can judge for yourself.
Yeah, and you can Google people. Google has
yeah.
everything, you know. I mean, I've
It-
put a lot of information on our pages today relating to the judge that I was able to get right up
Our
and throw them
court-
on there.
our court is open to
Right.
the public.
That's what people
Anybody
don't
can
understand.
come and watch
Leave
anytime.
your gun in your car.
Yeah.
In
Wear
my-
the proper clothes. Don't have your shirt
That's
tail
what-
outside. Don't wear a ball cap, y'all.
That's what the district attorney was saying last week. You're welcome to come in at any time and sit there and watch a
I
trial.
would love to have citizens do that. And during my 4 years on the bench, I have never once closed a court. And I'm always very open to the media.
Oh,
I
that's
want
a
to be
question.
respectful of victims and their families,
Yeah.
but people have a right to know what's happening in the
Right.
court system. And so if the media comes to my courtroom, I'm going to let them in. I'm just going to tell them, do not record jurors if it's a trial.
Absolutely.
And do not record the victims without their consent or
Mhm.
victim's family.
No.
But otherwise, they want to record me. They want to record the trial.
How would you feel? I mean, is it allowed here in Onslow in the state of North Carolina? Like, say, Court TV comes in and wants to do the whole trial and run it live. Is that something that's allowed?
So the trial judge has a lot of discretion about that. And the things you have to balance is the public's right to be informed and to have a public courtroom. But you also want to prevent it from being a circus, and you don't want it
That's
to
the key word.
and you don't want anything to happen that causes either side to not be treated fairly. You want to make sure that you're rigorously protecting that defendant's rights to a fair trial. And so that has not happened. You should ask Mr. Lee the next time he comes in. I'd be real curious to know. I'm sure you all remember the Cesar Lorian case.
I was just going to say that's
And
the
that
one I would
case
have loved to
was
see.
moved. The venue in that case was changed to Goldsboro.
That's
Mhm.
I don't know if Court TV covered that case. They may have, but that'd be a
I
good
don't know.
question to
Oh,
ask
yeah.
Mr. Lee the next time you
I'm
see
going to
him.
have to go back and look through their files now.
Are you on the bench today? You got work
I
to
am,
do?
so
You
I've
better go to work.
got to run. So
So we're going to go to work. Thanks for
again,
what you do. Thanks for coming in here.
Well, thank you so much.
You know, we really do appreciate it. And
That
our
means a
public's
lot.
going to appreciate it too. Your public's going to appreciate
Yes,
it.
I've already had a comment from Andrew who said he'd love to see more judges who are running for office on the show.
So would
So we
I.
need to know where they stand on issues, but this is a first for us having an actual judge come in.
Mhm.
We've had the district attorney lots of times, but I understand a lot more now after asking you questions and then you talking about how things actually work, because he'd read a story and I'm like, what? You know?
Well, see, and she brings up names like she did in this one that I already punched up in here
Right.
this morning. She popped a name up for me. I said, the first thing I'm doing, I do it for victims, and I do it for whoever's been charged with the crime. I punch up everybody
Yeah,
to
he's
see about their
Amazing.
criminal history. You can judge a lot about
Yeah,
victims by
right.
their criminal history, not that they deserve to get hurt or whatever. But sometimes
Well,
some people put themselves in bad places.
I would just say this.
not victims.
Nobody deserves to be the victim of crime.
Nope.
However, oftentimes what is portrayed in the media is not an accurate reflection. And sometimes that is just because the people that are writing the stories just truly don't know.
They
And
don't
then
know.
sometimes you have someone with an interest in it that's not trying to portray it accurately. So I would just tell everybody to have a healthy amount of skepticism to what they read and to do their own research.
If you come in
Thank you.
next time, I want to talk about parents responsibility with their kids.
Well, that's a big one.
Yes, sir. Be happy to do that.
Just think about it.
I
You
will.
know, I mean, 15 goes out at 3:00 in the morning on a drug corner. I'm sorry. Where's mama? Where's
That-
dad?
Clifford,
Wow, that could be a really long conversation, but it's an interesting
It's a
topic.
great story.
Clifford, one of our best shows ever.
Thank you
It is.
very
I
much.
like it.
It's been my
Thank
pleasure
you.
to be here, and I
Yes.
hope to be back soon.
Judge, thank
Oh,
you.
well,
Be safe.
definitely. You let me know when. And
Okay, we are live and local. Tomorrow's Friday. It's going to be Cardinal Friday, and we're going to be talking a lot about Cardinals tomorrow.
go Cards.
Go Cards.
Go
I hope
Cards.
we're not going to be mixing water with it. We will see you in the morning, live and local, real talk right here on where we are.
And our sports editor will be calling tomorrow. He
Yes.
chose to give his time
Thank
to
you.
the judge.
And we will spend
And,
some quality time with him.
Yes.
Hey, Chris, come in here in the morning.
He's like,
Oh, nah.
okay.
Okay.
Everyone be safe.
Have y'all be good. We'll see you in the morning.